Thank you for joining the Friday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Ayodele Uzuba. Today on the program, Senate threatens Inspector General Police with arrests. PDP National Chairmanship aspirants fail to agree on consensus candidates. Chief Justice of Nigeria says there are more than 1,000 corruption cases ongoing. I'll be hanging out with Ayo Makinde, Bola Olajuwon, Asuko James, and Sam Ibemere. So, if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us once again. These are certainly not the best of times for the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris. The embattled police boss has been in the news since Senator Isaiah Misau raised dust on his activities in the force. The refusal of the IGP Idris to appear before the committee set up to investigate the allegations leveled against him seems not to be helping his cause either. The Senate has threatened to issue arrest warrants for the IGP if he refuses to appear before it next Tuesday. Is the #1 law enforcement agent of the land invisible to such threats? Will it not be in his interests to testify before the Senate committee? Gentlemen, Sam, let me start from you. I don't know. If you issue an arrest warrant, they have, definitely the Senate, they have the power. If an arrest warrant is issued, who is going to effect it? You know, this is the Inspector General of Police, like #1 law enforcement officer in Nigeria.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it very, very interesting. And that's why I think that this is all about grandstanding. But before we get to the issue of who and how the IGP can be arrested, I think we need to properly, situate what is playing out. We need to better appreciate that this is all about the dynamics of politics. How do I mean? When I started, I said, this is about grandstanding. What I see playing out is essentially an intra-class squabble. It's about two individuals, one belonging to the legislature and the other to the executive. But this has compounded to include two institutions, the legislature and the executive, like I said. But it's gone beyond the individuals. It's about two institutions coming together to want to...
has issued a kind of court case against
yes.
the Misau, and this is not the time for the...
Exactly my point, that two institutions at loggerheads, represented by the individuals. One is senator, the other the IGP, who in this matter you would probably want to locate within the executive. Now, this reminds us of what had happened in the past. If you remember the case of Dabo and Taka. If you Dabo me, I Taka you. So you have a situation on your hand where a missile says he's found fault with the IGP. And because he feels sufficiently threatened, he runs back to his own constituency, the Senate. And then the IGP also runs back to his own constituency. Here,
the Attorney General
of the Federation.
Actually,
yes, you know, seeking some kind of protection. So, back to the question: if a warrant of arrest is issued, who effects it? What kind of guts is the average policeman going to display, going to pick up the IGP?
Boss.
And that's why I think that this entire thing, you know, sounds very, very amusing. What I think is of interest here is that these two are essentially members of the ruling elite. But the question that should interest us here is, what is the need for the common man? We are like pawns.
Thank you.
We are like pawns in this game.
Yes, Sam.
Yeah.
Before we, we look at what is in it for.
That sounded more like the implications.
So, Ayo, I want us to check this out. Yes, the IGP might use his office. No Deputy Inspector General of Police or AIG can walk up to the IGP and say, "Okay, you're under arrest. The Senate wants you." But I'm looking at the implication, the far-reaching implication of the foundation we're laying for our democracy here. Now, you have a situation whereby the custom man was summoned by the Senate. You might not like the face of Abubakar Bukola Saraki. He's just the president of the 8th Senate. But that is an institution in which we should strive to protect.
Okay.
Now, if this institution is saying the IGP, there are allegations against you that we need to clarify, that you have to come before us, is the IGP bigger than the National Assembly, than that Senate?
Thank you very much, Ayo, for this program. The first thing I made note of is actually what you're talking about, which is for us to dichotomize the divide between politics and governance. What does that mean in simple English? Let politics be politics and governance be governance. Wow. Today, in the United States of America, everyone across the 50 political divides in the United States of America are pointing fingers one way or another at Donald Trump, the president. As far as quite a number of them are concerned, this guy is not representing what we had in mind for recruiting him as president in the first place. So there is a divide. America first. As far as Americans are concerned, even Donald Trump is not putting America first. So that should be the first thing. So what are we playing here? Are we playing politics or are we running a governance? That's one. Number two, bringing, from the example you drew, Bukola Saraki and the customs boss, and this is not new. We should also dichotomize the individual from the institution. Now, how do we do that? I have absolutely no idea. But one thing is sure, this current crop of leaders cannot do it. So we need, I'm coming from a leadership conference, we need a new crop of leaders, but just as you said, if we lay this kind of foundation, then we are probably looking at another foundation altogether. So the crux of this matter is in enmeshing the issues. The IGP has found someone culpable, and the other person who has been found culpable in a way is also finding someone else culpable. Look, if he's dabbling me, let me also taka him. That's what all of this is pointing to. Very unfortunate. Now, there is a line you drew, in the last two lines in your comment that you opened, says the #1 law enforcement agent of the land invincible to such threat. He knows he is not. He knows he is not. But the question now is, which is what we have all established here. So who is going to arrest
Inspector General
the person who arrests persons? Who is going to issue the warrant? And who is going to effect the warrant? Does the Senate have its own police? So in a way, it's like the institutions are seemingly using, I really hate the fact that I'm being called upon, but that's what I am.
Yeah.
If this kind of thing continues. Thirdly, is the fact that every one of these individuals know that the media will always carry their issues. And they are excited about that. They want to be in the news. Guy, if and when the day comes when all this nonsense is done and no one in the media gives them attention, they will sit up.
Let's go. As you want to open with your newsroom experience, you've been following this story and you've been seeing the undercurrents. You've seen the undercurrent between Senator Misau and it's more of a personality clash between Senator Misau and the Inspector General of Police. And when you now dig further, they are dragging and bringing this institution. It took a different twist when the federal government actually took Misau to court for, I think, defamation.
Yeah.
I think it's defamation. They actually, it was actually slammed.
There are actually two cases now, you know, against him.
Against him.
One of the courts, he is being accused of spreading injurious falsehood, and then the other one for making and uttering false statements. That is what the courts, I mean, the Attorney General's, that's the case the Attorney General is building against him.
Now, the Senate as an institution, they are even looking at the merit of those, the allegations that was leveled against the Inspector General of Police. That
and not looking at the implications of the whatever it is that.
No, before now,
I get where you are going to.
Okay.
I think the thing is, most of our institutions, or like some days back, I was sitting here and I said that we like pursuing things and issues which are not beneficial, just like the MENA. MENA has revealed so many things. We are now talking about the ones he has told, but we have not even started talking about the revelation of MENA, that he has saved money for us. You understand? That is one. But this same issue is just almost similar. Misau actually said something. He said, the IGP is collecting monies. What we should be thinking of now is, okay, these monies that they claim that he's collecting, how do we go about it? How do we investigate?
How can we substantiate?
We know that he's the one that will investigate, but there's a way the Senate can you know, find ways. They have adult committee. They can set up an adult committee that will work quickly.
That they pay
those
the police
companies
on
that
a monthly
they pay
basis.
Exactly. You know, I know
10
we
billion
wanted to even
naira.
carry out that investigation. And from the little investigation we've carried out, it is more or less like true. And which the IGP needs to
Debunk.
you know, debunk. The IGP started, when Misau started, they said Misau didn't qualify for exams and all that. They goofed.
Because eventually, well from the police.
Exactly, because eventually the Police Service Commission came and said he did. And then Misau to himself has not also been, for him, if you have a fact, stay on your fact, stay on your lane. He now started going about saying that they actually gave the wife of the president two SUVs. And the IGP immediately countered. Now, the problem I have now is that will IGP actually honor the Senate? I think it is going to be a wild goose chase, because it won't happen. Because look at it, the federal government itself has always disobeyed court orders. So that is simple. And that is why they are taking us to the courts. If you look at it, you know, the Dasuki case is a clear example. The court says, bring Dasuki to court. It took them several months before they actually brought Dasuki, just 2 days ago or yesterday. You know, so for IGP, it will always find Nigerians or anybody that is highly placed, they will always find loopholes in our constitution or in our laws for them to find a way not to obey laws. And meanwhile, they are the ones, once someone steals, they are the first person that will arrest somebody, particularly when the person is a nobody. But once it comes to them, they have lawyers that will tell you this is what you need or this is how you will do it. So if for the IGP to face the Senate, you see what let me tell you what will happen first. They will either send a lawyer first to delay. 2018 is coming. They will send a lawyer, he will delay. Then later they will bring the Senate to come up with another thing. Then another issue. This is Nigeria. Another issue will now come.
The IGP might go to court to stall the Senate.
Totally. Then
as the customs CGD.
Let me tell you, another issue will still come, and then Nigerians will forget about the matter.
That's always the usual practice.
That is it.
One drama per day. Sam,
you know, on the surface, it will seem that what is playing out is a case of our institutions being tested on the surface. I mean, you won't query the Attorney General going to court. Mm-hmm. You won't also query the Senate for, in their view, wanting to exercise one of their powers, which is oversight. You understand? So on the surface, it will seem to the ordinary observer that this is just a case of, well, we have a case, let's go to court and sort things out. Fine. Law is about technicalities. Mm-hmm. You know, the Senate says Section 89 empowers them. I mean, it talks about separation of powers. It empowers us to ask you over to come and address certain questions if need be. Mm. But the executive feels that one of their own, you know, has been, you know, badly treated. And so you ask the courts, you know, you ask the courts
or falsely accused
to intervene. So, but the major worry here, like you know, Asuko noted, is you have a situation where the Attorney General is also a politician. Mm-hmm. He holds a ministerial, you know, portfolio. So you wonder what manner of justice will anyone get, and why is the case of IGP, the Inspector General of Police, you know, being singled out? Why the hurry? Because there are so many other cases. Why is the AGF not also jumping on, onto those cases and asking the courts to intervene?
Several human rights violations.
You understand?
Several,
and that's my concern. That this is basically an intra-class war, and they want to drag you and I into it. You know,
and make it a national issue.
Make it a national issue, whereas it's basically a squabble, a personal squabble between two individuals, and the institutions that they represent is now giving them some backing.
Doesn't affect the price of tomato in the market.
Do you understand? Exactly. So it would be nice to see how the judiciary, in this case, handles this matter. We want to see some level of independence. We want to see good governance. Our interest here is about integrity. Let the institutions be tested. Let the judiciary, in this case, the one that has been singled out, because it's a fight between the legislature and the executive. Let the judiciary play this game and be honest about it. But sadly, between the lower and the upper courts, I mean the lower and the high courts, we still have these issues. One is not trying to impugn on the integrity of judiciary, but then we have our worries, especially in this case where the Attorney General is an interested party. He's also, I mean, he has a vested interest. So that's our concern here. But we should be demanding good governance. We should be demanding transparency. We should be demanding honesty from our leaders.
I'm going to put you to task now. In the 2014 Constitution Review Conference that they had, the recommendation was made that expressly the Office of the Attorney General of Police, Attorney General of the Federation should be separated from the Minister of Justice. Because if you check countries like the United States of America, the Attorney General is not loyal to Mr. President. In fact, it can be a lead prosecutor that will prosecute Mr. President. Do you understand? Okay. So now we have, it's not the case here. We have a person that is a cabinet member of Muhammadu Buhari, and at the same time, is an Attorney General of the Federation, is speaking for the masses and everything. Don't you see a conflict of interest in this, you know, two in one office?
You know, I said something the other time about us dichotomizing individuals and institutions and dichotomizing politics and governance. The example of the US that he just cited, are going far. I think it's Ondo State. There's a program being championed by the World Bank on the request of about 11 states of Nigeria that they needed to find a way to strengthen their financial system and all of that. I forgot the name of the program. So what has been done? They wanted to to increase the revenue generation. I think it's Ondo State. They wanted to increase the revenue generation of the state. So what happened? What was the problem? The revenue generation system of the state, okay, was under the Ministry of Finance. Now, what happened? Naturally, red tapes, bottlenecks, things didn't happen for a very long time. Out of that program, they had one thing they call SIFMIS or something. I just did a documentary and I just had this privileged information that they had to find a way to break it all off, okay, so that there is a system now that the revenue generation drive was pulled out of the Ministry of Finance, so it's no longer reporting, so it's now autonomous on its own. In another state, one of those 11 states, the Office of Auditor General is now separate from the Ministry of Finance. So there is no conflict of interest. All we need is sincerity of purpose. To get this thing done is no biggie. Now, the recommendation has been made. Who is going to effect it? Who wants to? Because once you delegate, you lose power, so to speak, as far as some people are concerned. If once I say, okay, the Office of Attorney General is not now someone else's, I just hold. What you are saying in effect is now the Office of Attorney General is no longer with this particular institution. It's not going to have to go somewhere.
Because I think that we need a major constitution review.
Exactly, and that's
because
not
if there's any position that is recognized by a cabinet position that is recognized by the Constitution
it has to be filled.
The Minister of Justice and Attorney General. It was specified
together.
So every other position.
So the recommendation was made, and this is like how many governments after? Okay, this is like the second government. How far?
Let me take Patrick. Patrick is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Patrick.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
I just want to thank you for the work you're doing. It's a great job.
Thank you, Patrick.
But just before I start to comment on this, I want to make a comparison. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Patrick.
Now, you have in an organization just like the program you're anchored right now, and you have an hierarchy. If your station is going to survive with the standard it has now, is because you have an hierarchy and everybody's accountable up from the head to the down. Now, we have a country where we have a president. He's been saying that they keep saying that he's not aware. But these ministries, these agencies, and the rest, what is going on? Because we are confused. For me, I want to believe one thing, that he is aware, even though it's an allegation I'm making, I believe he is aware, and they're just using us to play games. Do media trial, do media game for the people, let the Nigerians feel we're working. At the end of the day, when our tenure finishes, either we win or not, we will continue the business as usual. That is the impression I'm getting from everything that is going on. Till today, this is how many years down the line. Till today, nobody has been found one thing. Nothing has been done about it. We're still here clamoring. Babacha Lawal, how long did it take? So please, sir, I know that we'll keep talking, but the truth about it is until the real thing is done and the president must take actions. For me, I feel he is involved.
Thank you, Patrick. Well, the president is like a clearinghouse. Every other thing that happens, we're talking about IG and Misao. Somebody is calling to indict the president. He is involved. He's involved.
What's interesting?
To be the president of a country like Nigeria, the president is not in any way involved in this one.
It's easier to say.
It.
But
it's always very easy for Nigerians to take the heads of Mr. President. This is, we said it, this is between Misao and Inspector General Police.
Agree. No, not the buck. No, it's not just the buck stopping, Ayo. It's not the buck. I did not vote for Idris. I didn't vote for the Attorney General or Minister of Justice.
Wait,
I didn't vote for any of them. I voted for Mr. President and Vice President two in one ticket.
This subject matter we are discussing. I agree with you. We are not talking about
it. It's not between. It's not a national issue. That's why I'm saying you should not make it a national issue.
Wait now. See, at the end of the day, Sam has said it that it's just an unnecessary distraction.
Agreed.
We're talking about Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and because if you look at this, the way these institutions now, at any given time, you will see the Senate. Senator Saraki was going through trial in the Code of Conduct Bureau. That is when the 8th Senate deemed it fit that they want to amend this Code of Conduct bill. The bill that set up, the act that set up the Code of Conduct. If you remember, this same, somebody raised an allegation against the chairman at that same time of the Code of Conduct.
He was facing the FCC.
He was facing the FCC. It was coming to the Senate. Something is not just right here. Now that the Inspector General of Police have decided to, the Attorney General have decided to take Misao to courts. Now the Senate is constituency, Misao's constituency, they're coming to the rescue, or they want to investigate the allegation leveled against the Inspector General of Police.
See, Ayo, if you look at the whole thing, you will just notice that our institutions, those who are manning our institutions, those who are leading our institutions, they are all selfish. That is just it.
Absolutely.
Because if you look at it from the Senate, if it doesn't concern them or any member of the Senate, they won't say anything. It can never be a national issue. It can never be our issue. If it doesn't concern somebody in the executive arm, is not our issue. If it doesn't concern anybody in the judiciary, unfortunately, it is only the judiciary that usually has problems in terms of they don't have any person that can come out and everybody will say, okay, this person looks a little bit, clean and all that. That is the only institution that is still having a shaky, the stability is not yet there that you can easily say, okay, this man, because so many people are still afraid that once they have a case in court, they can never get justice.
It's actually every one of those.
And that is the biggest challenge, because if your judiciary is weak, then there's no hope for the common man. That is it. Man. So for this issue, it is just an issue between both of them. If I were to be Mr. President, let me go to Patrick. If I'm to be Mr. President, I will call Misao, I will call IGP. What is your problem? You tell me what your problem is. It can be a personal problem honestly, it can be a personal problem that they want to make a national issue. And because of that, if they will take it to their own different institutions, and their institutions will now begin to look at it and say, okay, let's shake this country.
I think we have to pay some bills. Okay. We'll take this breather when we come back. We'll discuss more. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. Down, but not feeling defeated. The People's Democratic Party is gradually re-strategizing to wrestle power from the ruling APC come 2019. No doubt, the party is still going through healing process, which is visible in the cracks within the party. But the seriousness of the party cannot be whisked away. As the major opposition party in the country, one would expect that the politics for the party will mean the country first and individuals' ego will be laid to rest. But events from the meeting held on Monday puts the motives in check. The national chairmanship candidates of the party failed to choose a candidate for the chairmanship position. Can the country ever come first in politics? Are we likely to witness a reborn of the People's Democratic Party? Well, Sam, if you ask me, I'll tell you. But the beauty of it is that, let's throw it out. They don't have to have a consensus.
Absolutely.
They've zoned this thing. And the more the merrier. The beauty of democracy is people come out and show your strengths.
Exactly.
Whoever carries the day, fine. Sometimes in your bid, to form a consensus, to make sure you present one person and everything.
Create more problems.
Create more problems.
Absolutely.
They're just coming out from 1.5 years of, court cases and everything as a result of impunity.
Yeah. I would agree with you, Ayo. For those who think that the stakeholders within the PDP should be rallying around a consensus candidate, I don't think that is a key element when you're looking at how politics is played.
And when you're even talking about democracy.
Horse trading is an integral part of politics. So it shouldn't surprise anyone that those who are contesting for this position are sticking to their guns and saying, look, I'm going to go for it. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, in my view. But what is interesting to me is that the information available out there does suggest to me that those who are contesting for this position seem to have come to a certain realization that they also need to show some level of maturity. In fact, the information that I have is that one of them thinks that the noise out there has been created by the media. An example was given of how Dokpesi, told one of the national newspapers that he was present at the commissioning of the campaign office of the guy in Lagos, Bode George, and that he would also attend the commissioning of the campaign office of Daniel, And I think that is conciliatory, if you ask me. That shows,
that's mature.
Yeah, that's mature. So if you ask me, I think that the leaders of the party are beginning to understand that they need to take it easy. For a party that is just coming out of crisis, they need to show some level of, they need to be sober, if they really want to take on the ruling party. So if you ask me, it's an open field. Anyone who is keen and who thinks is very qualified, since that position has been zoned to the south, and it has not been micro, it has not been zoned to the southwest or to the southeast. Let them go out, In doing so, you probably would get the best, from the lot. So I don't think there's absolutely anything wrong in anybody showing that he's keen, on a certain position. But more importantly, I think the feelers that we are getting is also nice, that those who are showing very keen interest in this vacant position have said, no, we're not going to, it's not going to be a do or die, battle. We're going to be very friendly. It's going to be a friendly within the parties. So I think that is encouraging, if we're to believe the information that we are getting from, national news platforms. Okay,
Ayo Makinde, a roll call, we familiarize you with those gladiators coming out ahead of the convention of the People's Democratic Party in Abuja next month. That's Bode George, Jimmy Agbaje, Raymond Dokpesi, Professor Tunde Adeniran, and the former governor of Oyo State, that's Rashid Adewolu Ladoja. So when you look at the mix, Chief Body Judge used to be the former deputy national
forgot,
chairman. Not forgetting Otunba Gbenga Daniel. That's the governor, the former governor of Ogun State. And Uche Secondus. Yes, Uche Secondus is also the former vice chairman of national chairman of the party. So up to 8, 9 Uche Secondus. So now we just have something that the southern part of the country, especially is between the southwest and south. The southeastern guys are waiting for their turn now, waiting that maybe when they pick the presidency from the north, that's the calculation on ground. These guys doing a SWOT analysis on them.
First of all, I want to lay something at our feet as the media, which is the fact that sometimes we stoke the fire.
Is that work sometimes?
Sorry?
Sometimes it's hard to set the agenda.
You set the agenda.
No, I didn't say set the agenda. I used my words carefully. I said stoke the fire.
Sometimes it's necessary.
Especially, I agree with you, especially when sometimes it's necessary, especially when you want information from someone and the person is not willing to deliver, to divulge the information. So you throw some, just stoke the fire in a way.
Put your hand in his
mouth. But then sometimes the danger of doing that is that sometimes it's in the way we ask the questions. When you ask the question, you make a suggestion. I'm a journalist, so I can tell you sometimes you do that, and sometimes it works, sometimes it sends wrong signals. But then that's fine. I mean, that's our own job. That's one way that we are doing it. So it brings me to the way we opened it: country first or ego first. This is not this generation of leaders. The youngest of these guys is how old? So it's not in this. It's not in this.
I'm not young men, though.
Well, anyway,
the youngest should be in their 50s.
So
but has anyone stopped the young men from contesting?
No, I'm coming somewhere. I'm coming somewhere.
Is not young. Now, is not young. Dr. is not young.
I know none of them is less than 40.
In their 60s. In their 60s.
All right. So
Chief Body Judge is in the 70s.
The issue here is not. I don't even see how important this is, because this is the national chairman of a political
major opposition party.
In English. A political party. Why did I say that? Because it took them how many years to solve their internal problems, to solve their family problem. And this is where I usually have problem with the political class. Yes, PDP is a major force. And why is it a major force? Simply because it has governed Nigeria for 16 straight years, and it is now the major opposition party, but does it have to be? APC was not a political party 16 years ago, 10 years ago. All right? So it begs the question of where are the other political parties? We will not hear about any one of them until 2019. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's where the problem is now, is that the political class, as at this moment, what's the difference between the PDP and the APC? So, now, the issue that is on the ground now.
Difference.
Okay, yes, in the name, yes, I agree.
One is in power, the other one is
opposition. Now, but I also there is something that is happening that is also interesting for many of us.
I'm sure the visual can go around. That's Professor Adeniran alone. You have Body Judge, you have some other guys that they've been campaigning across
If they all feel that they are qualified, I do not see any reason for this whole, what's it called? Consensus candidate. And please, for God Almighty's sake, it's chairman of one political party. If it was consensus candidate for a presidential position of the nation, then it would be a matter of urgent national importance. You understand? But as at this moment, are they all qualified? It's not for me to say I'm not a member of the PDP. Are they all? Is this position at the end of the day just for one person?
Okay.
So let the political gladiators go ahead.
Asuko, why do you think the stakes are high for the People's Democratic Party? Why do you think, for the first time, we are seeing the party want to get it right ahead of 2018 presidential nomination? We are seeing a party, and they want to say, normally, the governors, they will just come together. You just see one Ayo Fayose, you see one Yeson Wike, will be somewhere, this is the person we are supporting. And that's everybody told that line. 6, 7, 8 governors will come together. Before the convention, they would have chosen and decided on who. But this one, there's something unique about it. This is November and very close to the convention date, we've not seen any hand of so-called anointed candidates. There seems to be, look, these guys are going to go into the race and they're going to slug their, test their popularity.
I think they are trying to show us that they have learned their lessons. You understand? Facts. Now, if you look at it, I'm just trying to look at how the APC was able to win the hearts of Nigerians. It is from their primaries.
Yes, February 14th,
presidential primaries,
2014.
So many people.
Yes,
people sat down at Teslim.
Yes,
people sat down.
TVC covered it live. We're like there for like 48 hours, and
so many people watched that religiously, and it was just a testament that if something like this can happen to this party, just this new party, it means that they are going to change things. So the PDP, they want to
same day, the PDP, they were in Abuja. Endorsing Jonathan. As the sole candidate.
And the party,
that same day.
A party that does not learn, never win.
They didn't sell forms for any other person.
A party that does not learn can never win. And that was their undoing. Because they went ahead to endorse Jonathan. Alone. While the other party wanted the whole world to see that we can do this. And all the delegates came out and they voted for Buhari. Now, they are trying to look at it that, okay, you guys, you are interested in this position. Go ahead, canvass for your votes. And they've been going, the two prominent people I've seen is Bode George and
Benga Daniel too have been going.
And
Professor Adeniran
and Adeniran.
Benga Daniel has been asked.
And Benga Daniel too. But the other ones,
really?
Dopesi too have been going.
Yeah, with Dopesi. Now the funniest person has been Jimmy Agbaji.
I'm coming. Amaka, we have Amaka from Abuja. I'll still want you to touch on JK.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Yeah, I thank you for what you are doing. Very nice program. I enjoy it a lot.
Thank you.
Please, but the anchorman, sometimes when somebody is trying to make a point, give him a chance to do it, please. I beg you.
Okay.
And APC that was elected, yes, all of us voted APC, but what we are seeing is what we went for. And the blame game has been there. Before you know it, PDP will come back. PDP is wrong and it's coming back. Somebody said it there. For 16 years they ruled Nigeria. They are definitely going to be there. If APC doesn't know what they are doing, I don't have much to contribute. Thank you.
Okay. Emeka, I just wish I can believe you. You said you voted for that change. I just wish I can believe Emeka that you actually voted because of the demography of the election.
Now, JK seemed to be the only one that has not been going around. Maybe he's doing his underground moves.
He's still believing in the old order.
Which is good.
Yes.
Very possible. And I believe so many people would want a new face. A new face. That people will say, okay, we like that face. We know this. Okay, this is the person.
How do you like somebody that you don't know?
No, let me tell you, Ayo.
Okay.
See, just like Ayo said, a new crop of what? Leaders. That is what Nigerians are looking for.
From all those people.
From all these people, let me tell you, have you not heard of Professor Adeniran before?
Yeah.
Have you not heard of Bode George before? Have you not heard? You understand what I'm saying? These are people that have led us before. But there are some other people here.
But they are saying, what?
Listen, Ayo, wait. There are some other people here that we have never given them power. Until
this is not the executive seat.
It's not the executive.
It's just a state party now. This is not presidential primaries now.
Of course. Listen, it's
Which
not.
is why, come on.
It's not. Listen, we know that it's not an executive seat. But once they give that person, they want to see freshness. Now, let me tell you, Ayo.
Numbers, really.
Let me tell you, Ayo. To me, if I see an old face, it will be very difficult for me to, say I want to support that person.
What's he going to say again that
because of course that's what Nigerians will say. That's what Nigerians
Unfortunately,
will say.
all the people around.
So they need. I think that is what they are trying to do. They want to bring a new face. They want to also let Nigerians know that okay, fine, we can change things. We don't want to go to the old order and all that.
Okay, we have to move on. All right, for years, Nigerians have yearned for a vibrant judicial system to no avail. The inefficiency in the system has allowed corruption cases to drag for years. In other cases, it has overstretched the prison system, causing unnecessary congestion of the awaiting trial inmates. But bearing political interferences and avoidable delays in the trial of corruption cases in the country, the long waits for justice for such cases might soon be history. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onohen, has confirmed that a total of 1,124 corruption cases have been forwarded to the National Judicial Council, that is NJC, for speedy trial in the proposed special corruption courts across the country. What does this mean for the ongoing anti-corruption crusade? Sam, this is very, very important. If the present 1,124 corruption cases, if they have a dedicated courts, speedy trial, what does this mean for our war against corruption?
I think it's a good thing coming out of the office of the Chief Justice. First, I want to dwell on the issue of data. We know that where we come from, this country, data, you can hardly rely on it. So
the only data that
nice,
is viable is the one you use for internet.
It's nice that we're taking off this conversation with an agreement that the figure that has been suggested by the CJN isn't this correct, because you could have several other cases that have not been, brought. But it tells you, Ayo, that we have a huge task on our hands, over 1,000, cases. I think it's also interesting that the office of the Chief Justice is beginning to look at how these cases can be dispensed with in terms of speed and in terms of quality. I guess that was what informed the establishment of the trial monitoring, committee, which the Justice Salim turned down, and then we have Galadima in his place. So one hopes that the structure which the CJN, the Chief Justice Onoye, is building is one that can stand the test of time.
We even outlive.
Yes, outlive him. It's important because if you have courts, dedicated for these, corruption cases, it surely would enhance speed. And if you have a dedicated team, like has been put in place with former MBH chairman, NGOs, forming part of that committee, if they apply themselves to work, in terms of pursuing the goals, I think it holds, some good prospect, for us in terms of administration of, justice, and then the management of these corruption cases, that are out there. So I think it's a good development. We hope that these institutions that are being built, would last.
Ayo Makinde, for me, I want to ask you about, this special courts, because let me refer you to the class of 1999-2007. Some of their cases are still in courts. Reverend Father Jolly, Yame, name them.
Say Reverend Father.
Yeah, and
some Senate members and some senators.
Oji Zokalu, they are still in courts.
Yeah.
Is Akume case over?
2007 till now. How many years? This 2017. They have still not gotten judgments, or their case is yet to be adjudicated upon. They've not gotten to anywhere. Danjuma Goje running the trial and everything. So this brings me to, how would this special court assist? Now we don't have to wait for all other piled up cases, civil cases, criminal cases, put together, lumped together. We now look at these corruption cases and bring it out, and those special courts will be able to concentrate.
Well, it's gratifying that at least someone is thinking in the direction of, okay, let's have expedited, justice that can take care of these 1,124 cases that we know. I think it was the acting boss of EFCC that said there are some cases that they are still investigating, that they haven't concluded on to the point of prosecuting. So we don't know how many thousands or how many hundreds those ones are.
Huge number.
At this moment. But you know where my problem really is, Ayo? There is a power we have that we are not using. And 30% of highly educated Nigerians have control of that power, and we are not using them. It is the power of technology. We are talking about corruption cases. The most effective way to fight corruption is technologically. Is ICT. That is the most effective.
How am I asking?
Ayo, I mentioned one technology that the World Bank is assisting some 11 states with. It's such that you can't take any. There is something that they had in some states or federal.
Okay, you're talking about prevention.
There is a list of civil servants with the Ministry of Finance. There is another list of civil servants with the head of service. With that technological, whatever that the World Bank is bringing, the system, it merges it. So you cannot have one person on this list that is not on this list. The list on the list that the head of service has without technology will be shorter than the list on the Ministry of Finance.
To deploy technology in
if we deploy technology in preventing corruption cases, we will not have up to 1,124 cases. Today is what? November 3. By March 3, how many cases are we going to have? Do you understand? I'm not really as troubled about the present as I am about the future. Because most of the time, what we do is solve today's problem. But when we solve today's problem and we do not have foresight for tomorrow, we have created more problems. Today, we are talking about 1,124. If we continue in this same system, in 1, 2, 3 months from now, okay, max 6 months from now, we'll have double this number.
If these structures will even take off.
Understand? So, if government is sincere about fighting corruption, you cannot do it with pen and paper.
No, because to me, the committee, when I saw the composition of the committee, I was a little bit skeptical because of some of the members of those committees. They are defendants, they are defense counsel to some of those in question. You understand? So, so I don't know how the committee will work independently. With
practicing lawyers.
Exactly. You understand what I mean? If you have a member of the committee,
be a judge in your own case.
It will be very difficult. So I think that is where the CGN will also have to tell Nigerians how that will pan out.
The committee, I think, they are just to monitor.
Okay,
they are not the ones.
Okay, they are not sitting.
No, they are not the ones.
If they are not going to sit, fine.
Courts,
and if they are not going to interfere
openly,
fine. So now, what I would suggest that when these cases are on, first let the CGN publish the names of all these cases. Let everybody see the corruption cases with their names and how much. That is one. Publish it in all the my national dailies. Let people see it. Then second, during prosecution, when they are being arraigned, let Nigerians see it. I think that is going to deter people from even going into corruption.
I want to thank you so much, Asuko James. Thank you so much for being part of this program. The very short notice. Thank you. Sam, thank you for being part of defiling Lagos traffic to get here. And I am making it today. Thank you. Thank you. And that's our take on Journalist Hangout. Thank God it's Friday. Join us next week for more interesting episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight on all our platforms. That's on DSTV 418, GoTV 45, and you can all these platforms as listed on the screen. You can also watch on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel, Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubako. Nice weekend ahead. See you on Monday. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.